we were at the mill, and it was a bit of a marathon meeting this morning. So I just knew there wasn't, I got so far into it and I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to let you know we're going to be late today. But I'm here now, which is all good. And I have to admit, we have those meetings. We have like a Skeinz management meeting every couple of weeks with the mill team. And it makes a huge difference. Like there's so much that we cover off, particularly with what's happening across at the mill, what we can potentially expect. There's just loads, there's so much going on at the moment. So it was really good. It was really, really good. And I'm a bit bedraggled. I was just looking at myself. I feel like I'm a bit like a bedraggled, bespectacled ginger Stevie Nicks, kind of. Good afternoon, everybody. But that's good. We're here now. And really excited for November. I am so excited for November. It's kind of weird, October. I don't know how everyone else feels, but October is sort of, for me, particularly once you get through Labour weekend, it's kind of like the beginning. You're out of the starting gates, and you know that the rush to the end of the year is now coming, and it sort of feels like that. Like I feel really energized about what we've got planned. And one of the things that Claire and I did last week on Thursday, we spent a couple of hours doing our full promotional plan all the way out to Epic Sale in March. And yes, we will be having our Epic Sale in March. Not going to tell you just when yet, but it is definitely happening. So we did everything, all that planning from now all the way through to then. Which is a huge job. And we already sort of had the skeletons and the bones of what we were wanting to do, but we fleshed a lot of that out and made a few decisions based on what we know we've got coming in and what's potentially still hanging around. And yeah, it was great, so that gets you really energetic, and just the weather too, the weather's starting to stabilize out a little bit. I understand it was very wet for many over the weekend. For us here at the Bay, not too bad at all. So I have seen that there has been some significant progress made on some rebels. In fact, a few completed rebels, which were brilliant because, of course, those rebels were the ones, both of them, well, the two that I specifically saw you were wanting to get in, I know, for the end of Outlaw October. So you could enter both draws on that, which is, of course, fantastic. So if you haven't had a chance to catch up with those yet, or you're wanting to join in the Rebel Fun, what we're up to is we are doing a knit-along, and we use the pattern we're knitting is Rebel by Libby Johnson, which has been out for a couple of years now. This is it here. And part of the reason why I've chosen it is because it is a transitional piece. It's a beautiful layering piece that works perfectly for any type of year. So even if you're in the Northern Hemisphere or in the Southern Hemisphere, it is the piece that you can use just to throw over at the beginnings and end of a day. And it's great. It's a really neat little knit. And there's a couple of really interesting little features in there and a couple of interesting little techniques. So even if you're an adventurous beginner, there are things there that you can learn. And I think that's the whole thing about a knit-along, isn't it? I mean, for those who've not done it before, knit-alongs for us are very, I'm not big on having lots of criteria or rules. It's more about all kind of working on something roughly at the same time. So then if we get a bit stuck, we've got each other to lean on and we can actually work through it together. And there's been loads of that, which has been awesome, from the short rows at the beginning. So if you're just casting on now, and I see that there are a few that have just, were finishing up Outlaw October projects before they cast this on. So if you're just casting this on now, the neat part is so many of us have actually progressed through that first part of the knit. If you get stuck, just jump out into the speakeasy and pop your question up. And I know that there are going to be plenty of keyboard experts there to help you out, which is fantastic. And don't forget that I did do that video with Libby a week or so ago. And there were some really, really good advices there. You'll see it's actually in two parts because the technology let us down. Do make sure if you're a little bit nervous, watch that video because there's some fantastic tips and hints in there, which I think should give you confidence before you cast on. So yeah, it was great. I got really, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't do a lot of knitting last week during the week. I just had a really, really busy week, and I was a bit shattered, to be quite honest with you. So I didn't get as much done as I had hoped. But once I started seeing these near finished and then finished projects cropping up, it certainly did give me a bit of an impetus to get going again. And I do, and you may have seen a post that I popped up yesterday, I tend to, particularly this time of year, for those that don't know me, I have a couple of young teenage sons. And if you've got anyone in their age group, they're busy. They've now got these sort of like lives, and they expect mum to be there at their beck and call and drop them around. So I often now find that the knitting time that I would burgle in the afternoons and the early evening has sort of evaporated with family time. So the time that I get to knit is I'm the one up in the household that's actually awake before everybody else. So my knitting time is often, dare I say it, between 5 and 8 in the morning. I know I'm not always up that early, but it depends. It depends on how well I've slept the night before. But anyway, I did get a bit of knitting done, and often I'm aided by my canine assistants. And so I'm forever having to pluck out dog hairs from my projects, which is why I never commission knit for anybody, because, unless they love dogs, it's going to be tough. But I wanted to show you how I have gotten on. So I did have managed, as you can see, there we go. I have made some progress down the body. Ta-da! I'm now into skein 3. And whilst I said to everybody before, I don't really bother with transitioning with skeins, because I don't. However, I did transition between skein 2 and skein 3. And the reason for that was, as Libby talked about, and I have had questions about, where do you do that transitioning? Where do you actually swap those skeins over or do that transition point? Or if you're carrying yarn and doing 2 colours. And I do note that there have been ones who have done this main body portion in one colour and then the garter portion in a contrast colour. And Libby suggested that you actually do it in this portion here at the nexus point between the garter stitch and the stocking stitch. So what I did is I did do a long transition so I could show it to you. So what I did is, there is the transition, and you can see the transition running there. And I've also done, I've actually woven those ends in as well. So I'm going to hold it up. Hopefully the camera, let's get my face out of it so then it will focus. There we go. So as you can see, I've actually just run the stitches up, and then I've also wound, where is it? There it is. I've also just wound this piece up there as well. The other thing I do too, and I actually didn't do it at the bottom, but I did do it up here at the top. Where is it? There. I did do it at the top because this yarn is quite multicolored. One of the other tricks that you can do to weave it in, and you probably, if you could see it there with my very dreadful looking fingernails right there, is one of the other little tricks that I have, particularly with yarn like this, which is quite slinky, is that when I'm finishing off a piece of that ball and you have a tail, so you start your new ball or your new piece solo, but you've still got that tail left. So you've got a couple of options. One is you can do what I did with the bottom of the tail, and then you can just basically thread up through your transitions and corkscrew up and then just weave those in. The other thing you can do is what I did up here, and you can take that tail, and as you're knitting back with your new piece, you then alternate your stitches with the tail piece, which is what I did. So I had a reasonably long tail, about that. So then I would alternate the stitches for about 6 or 8 stitches. So I had knitted one with the leading yarn, one with the tail piece, one with the leading yarn, one with the tail piece, one with the leading yarn. And then I would finish my row. And then when I came back and purled back, I did the reverse. So I would get to that point, I would then knit one of the transition stitches that I had with the tail piece. I would knit that with the leading yarn, then alternate, and then knit the tail piece, leading yarn, tail piece, leading yarn, and then back in. And then that actually knits and it's a really secure way of actually transitioning that yarn in. Works beautifully with variegated yarns like this, and it's a really, really neat way of actually getting rid of that. And then I had a tiny little bit of the tail piece left, which I then just threaded down, just corkscrewed down, and then snipped it off. So I can tell you right now that when I finish blocking this, those ends are not going to be escaping anywhere. They will be gonnies, gones. I have spoken to some people that splice. They actually splice those together at that point, but you're already working with your leading yarn, so I don't, for me, I just find that's a neat way of doing it. The other thing that I have done as well, which I did have another tail piece for, which is the tail piece that you have when you're up here at your nexus point there, you will actually end up with another tail piece here. I actually took Libby's advice, because I am obviously doing a larger size, because this is me. Ooh, I don't know whether you can see that, but I have actually popped in a couple of duplicate stitches there and actually strengthened that little piece up there. It's to look at, it's basically invisible, but it is actually has been firmed up, because the entire weight of those two front pieces, as Libby said, sits across those two stitches. So I've just gone and duplicate stitched over either side and just reinforced those a little bit. So it will just literally help the physics of it. I've yet to measure this. I think it's basically for this, I can't remember what the measurement was, I can look it up, but it said to keep going until you get to 7.5 centimetres short of where you want to go. I am probably going to do another 5 or so centimetres, and then I might try it on and have a look, because I usually go quite cropped for these, because I wear this with a dress, but I've got a particular item in mind that I'm wanting to wear this with, and actually I'm looking at probably dropping my length down just a touch from where I would normally go for something like the pop crop cardigan or the Miss Jane. And I'm actually probably going to use one of my other cardigans that I know's at spot on the length that I want, and actually you just use that as a guide. So then that way it's something that I'm already wearing. And I will probably steam this fabric as I go. So then that way it will give me a more accurate idea of where it's sitting and how it's looking and where things are going. So that's the plan at this stage. So I'm really pleased. And I have to admit, I'm at what I call the cruise control portion of the knit. Like, I'm at that really lovely part where it's just quite mindless and brainless, and when things are quite busy, it's I just find it very comforting. It's very, very comforting where I'm at. So if you haven't cast this on yet, it's not too late. So don't feel that you've missed out on all the fun. I have actually planned the next item for another knit along. I actually made that decision last week, and I did actually tease that, and I've got a really neat idea for that for our summer knit along. And I may, until, depending on how everyone's progress is going with that, I'll probably eke this out through to the end of this month and look at starting formally that next one next month. So I may do another little project in between, or I could even cast another one of these on. I'll just see how I go. But definitely, you've still got to, we're going to work on this, and I'm going to cover this for the next month, and then I'm going to move to something new come 1st of December. So that's definitely going to happen. Right, speaking of which, 1st of December in a new month, 2nd November today. Yesterday, a couple of birthdays. It was my mum's birthday yesterday, Mother Busky. So happy birthday to her. And also to my niece. It was her birthday yesterday as well, down in Wellington. She was 23, so happy birthday to Ella. So loads of birthdays in the Busky environment. Sorry. So it was loads of fun. And of course, new month means new theme. Also means some winners. Sorry. Dry throat. Right. This is Clara Jane by Hanging Rock Roost. This is Vanessa from Hanging Rock Roost. This and the yarn to go along with it was our Feeling Fine promotion this month, and boy, did you guys absolutely love that. And there were so many wonderful, wonderful, wonderful designs. And the winner of that, and I've written it down. Where have I written it down? I did actually. It was so good. and did the draws just before I came on air. There it is. The winner for that Feeling Fine was Morag McKenzie. Congratulations, Morag. I will be in touch with you to let you know that you've won this, and also we can discuss yarn selections and colours. So you will get the yarn to knit this as well. So that's really exciting. I think it's utterly gorgeous. And I'll talk to you about this, but look at that. It's utterly, utterly beautiful. It's lovely. I absolutely love Vanessa's work. And hopefully some of you got to see Vanessa and pick up some patterns and awesome yarn. She does yarn now too, from her at Capital Fibre Fest. I know she was there the other weekend. So I'm really excited about that. Our next prize, of course, we had a separate prize for Outlaw October. And actually, I haven't caught up to see. I'm going to talk to Deb actually on. Her and I usually often have a Monday catch up with stuff as well. I haven't caught up over on her Ravelry page about whether or not she's announced her winners yet, but I know a number of you were absolutely furiously finishing projects at the end of last week to get into her draws, and we of course had ours as well. And we saw a huge influx of people getting stuff posted up at the end of last month to be in for that. We have a garment lot of Outlaw Bohemia Kelmscott with the Georgie pattern from Libby Johnson, and that pattern featured in the Lana magazine in Outlaw Bohemia, and it is knitted in that as a sample down at Outlaw HQ. So I ran the randomizer over to get the winner for that, because ours was just a random draw, and wouldn't you know it, we have there we go. There was I did that. The stickies thing, that's what I was looking for. There's our winner. And this is the lovely Richard Reed. I have met Richard. He's absolutely charming and honestly the most fabulous knitter. Both Richard and his wife Lindsay are knitters. And this is from Brooklyn Tweed. It's called Albion, and he's knitted it in Gothic hide. And I'm going to put that up a little bit closer because it is an absolute stunner. So yeah, so when you got drawn out, Richard, I was most excited, and I will be in touch with you because you may be happy to just to get the Georgie pattern, but I am also quite happy to concede that if you want to knit something else with the Kelmscott, if you've got another pattern in mind from another designer, we can talk about that and we can get you something to go with that Kelmscott as well, because the Kelmscott's gorgeous. So congratulations, Richard. I was absolutely thrilled because that is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So congratulations. Right, what else have I got to do? What else have I got? So much to talk about. Yes, new theme, obviously, next thing. The new theme, and I'll put a tile up this afternoon on my list of things to do. The new theme for November is going to be homegrown. And I'm sort of tying that theme into it. There's a reason for this. It's tying in for a few things, because obviously a lot of us have had our wings clipped, and we're really, with one of the positives of the COVID crisis is that we've had to really learn to actually just take stock and appreciate all the fabulousness that we have around us all of the time. So the theme for homegrown is, and again, like all of our themes, it's very, very loose interpretation, how you interpret it, but it's actually how you appreciate those things that you have at your fingertips that are at home. So it could be a project that you're working on, that could be something that you're doing for yourself. It could be even created in regards to homespun if you're doing something like that. If you're using any of our yarns which are manufactured by us here in New Zealand, it could be homegrown there. If you're one of our American listeners, it might be a case of you actually doing something that's American made and that's homegrown for you. However you interpret the theme is entirely up to you. I haven't sorted a prize out yet, but I'm working on it because I've got some new stuff happening. But we're also tying this in with a Southlander Spotlight, which we haven't done for about 18 months, I think it was. I think we did it February last year. Was it February this year? Can't remember. Anyway, We're going to do a spotlight on Southland again because stocks are coming back in. So those of you who have been waiting for some Southlander stocks, especially Southlander DKs, if you go and check the page, you'll see that they're starting to pop up. That was one of the things I was looking at the mill. We have a whole heap coming in, including a new colour, which was on the Superba being steamed when we were there. And I'm going to put a teaser photo up on the Instagram and the Facebook to show you that. It's a great new natural colour. Very excited about that. So watch your trigger fingers, because I'm only going to tell you guys, watch your trigger fingers. Don't go ordering just yet. Wait until I load the sale. Hopefully, if I get all my ducks in a row, I'll be able to I'll load the special pricing up before the end of this week, but I will put it out into a newsletter and let you know. So unless you're desperate, if you're looking at buying any Southlander, hold off, wait until you get the sale, because I don't want you to miss out on the special pricing. So that is definitely coming. So that is great news. And yeah, this new colour is going to be awesome, particularly if you're looking to do some colourwork sweaters coming up over the summer period, because the colourwork out there at the moment is just amazeballs. So good. The other thing too, to remind you as well, is if you're doing any Christmas shopping or you're needing to send stuff away to people overseas for Christmas shopping, are the hippie homewares and hats. Now, again, watch your trigger fingers. You would have seen I did some literature last week, but I've got a couple of hippie cushions behind me. We are being part of the lay-by mania, which we did last year. Lay-by is a system whereby you can purchase items and then spread your payments out over 6 payments. We're only set up for New Zealand based purchases. However, as part of the lay-by mania, which is on Wednesday, we are having 20% off all our hippie products. So if you're wanting to shop early for Christmas, if you're wanting to send hats, if you've got family members or ones that you're close to and you're looking to send gifts off to them, the hippie hats are fabulous and they post so easily. And I know post dates are closing very, very soon. So Wednesday, go and snap up 20% off hippie only for Wednesday. So mark that in your diaries or your calendars now, because you don't want to miss that. And you can use lay-by or other purchases as well. Some places will only allow you to use lay-by. I've gone and loaded it so anybody can use it. You don't have to have lay-by to get the discount. You just have to purchase. So do definitely take advantage of that. Have a look. They just make such great gifts, Christmas gifts, and as I said, fabulous for posting. So that is happening on Wednesday. What else have I got shaking this week? I've got notes here everywhere. Oh, yes, restocks. Merino Soft White. Oh, I know. Claire made a special run over to the mill on Saturday to get it. They were doing a special balling run for it on Saturday. We've been desperate for it for weeks and weeks, and thank you for everyone who've been waiting for it and have been so patiently waiting. So that is now in stock. It is in the shop and it is online. So if you've been waiting for Merino Soft White, it is there and it is ready. So do definitely go and snap that up. And I will be letting you know about some other restocks as they will be coming through. There's quite a bit coming. There was a whole heap this week, and there's a little bit coming through next week. All right, what else? Let's make sure that we've got no questions. Do you need to get yarn for the December castle? No. So Bev is asking about the knit along for December. No, Bev. This is the beauty about what I'm looking to do in December, and I'm going to let you know in plenty of time. It's quite a. It's going to be sort of a project crossed with a little bit of a design competition as well. So yes, no is the answer to that. But once I sort of get into the Rebel, I'll start letting you know about that in the next couple of weeks. So then that way you've got plenty of time to plan. Excellent. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Barbara. She's saying Outlaw Draw extended. Tomorrow extended by 2 days. Thank you for that. I haven't even had a chance to catch up on Deborah's social media. So that's brilliant for all of those that are finishing off projects, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yes. Oh, well, it's so good to see everybody here, which is great. I see Margot is here. Good luck with your elections, Margot. That's Tuesday your time, Wednesday our time. So I hope everything goes well to all our American friends. Big day for them. And until then, I will be in touch with our winners. Congratulations. And I will get our theme up and I'll hopefully sort of prize out by then. I'll let you know with the newsletter what's going down with the Southlander. So as I said, fingers off buttons. If you're wanting Southlander, wait until I let you know because I will get this special up. Incognito, just looking over and seeing it. We've got very little left. I literally, in fact, if I pull this round, hopefully you'll be able to see it. That tiny little table, see that tiny little table at the end of the counter there with a little crate in front of it? That's what we've got left of the Aspen. Ooh. So that's all we've got left of that. So if you haven't had a chance to pick any of that up yet, you definitely want to get onto that because that literally is all we've got left. And then hopefully this week, fingers crossed, now that stock taking is out of the way, we're hoping to get some more incognito loaded for you. And we've also been to the mill as well. We've got some more yarn coming through for incognito as well that we've just getting reformatted all ready for you. Oh, so much coming up. So exciting. So exciting. But until then, have a great week. I will be back on Thursday. And yeah, I'll hopefully have more progress on the Rebel. And have a great day. Have a great beginning of week. I'll see you then.